So, dear Deb, what would you say? What's your first tip about how to influence for impact?
I'm going to say, number one, I'm going to say change your story. And before you go, what does that mean? So, oh my God, what's it? I'm going to say change the story of going, oh, how to influence impact. This is too hard. I'll never be able to do this. Only other people can do this. Oh, this is not for me. I'm not even working. How can I impact? I'm just a mum, or I'm just this, or blah, la, 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 la. So, number one, I'm just going to say change your story. I mean, change the story is actually a great one. Could probably come into every every podcast that we actually have.
Completely agree. Yeah.
Debz is a stressologist. She will stretch your mindset to think bigger than you've ever thought before, with follow-through techniques that are realistic and achievable to blow any fear out of your mind. Moira is a mindset cultivator. She will help you align your personal trinity of self-trust, inner awareness, and self-confidence so that you discover and share your unique gifts and purpose. Together, their goal with these conversations is to share how our inclinations do not always work in our best interest and to provide the knowledge to leverage the gifts that already exist within each one of us. Their desire is to help you learn how to access the habits and behaviors that will lead to positive change and your best quality of life. Welcome to your deliciously motivated mindset.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome, dear friend. Welcome, dear Deb.
Welcome.
Welcome. Here we are, Debz and Moira, with another one of our deliciously motivated mindset conversations. I love these conversations. And as always, dear listeners, if you've heard us before, you always know that we only have topics that are goodies. Because otherwise we just wouldn't be having these conversations.
That's right. That's otherwise they'd just be average.
They'd be just like, vanilla. We don't do
normal. Oh, that makes me shudder.
Yeah, gosh. How could you ever put either of us into the category of normal? I just don't know what that means.
No. And actually that's a prime one of even just saying that because of our topic today.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. That's very much in alignment with our topic. But before...
So we could say how to not be normal.
How to not be normal. Yes, to get the impact of that.
Yeah, that's the one. Okay, I'll be quiet. I'll let you do intro.
So before we get into our topic for today, if you've listened to us before, you know that we like to, and if you haven't, then follow along, that we use this little assessment tip or technique where we check in with ourselves, and we check in with ourselves on what we like to think of as our PEMS or our PEMS. How's your physical body? How are you feeling emotionally? How's your mental body? And how's your connection to source or higher self? Things of that nature. And what we do when we check in, we're going to give ourselves a number on a scale of 0 to 10. And 0 is feeling awesome, present, calm, zen, balanced, peaceful. And 10 is feeling chaotic and, oh my God, and I don't know what to do and I'm stuck in it. And the truth is, we all move up and down that scale. And the key piece, and that's why it's this a really powerful assessment, is to just notice. Just notice. Don't get into, oh my God, this is wrong, or I shouldn't be. It's okay. Wherever you are is where you are. So we start off, before we get into our conversation, just giving ourselves a number. So we encourage you to write it down. And then at the half point, just check in with yourself again. And then we'll all check in again at the end of our conversation. And of course, the actual ultimate inspiration of our conversations is to always help you ease towards that 0. That's kind of the intention. All that being said, dear Deb, what number are you at today?
I had a physical reaction when you went to that, when you said that 0. I went, oh, that would be so nice to be there. I went, oh, I know those moments. I know those moments. I'm a 4.
Okay.
Yeah,
Debz
I'm a
at
4, but I was left with, oh yeah, a 0. Oh, when was the
lit.
last time you a 0 in the last 24 hours? Is where my head was like,
It's a destination.
forgot we do that. Yeah.
Yeah. So Deb's at a 4. I'm actually at a 2. I got a wee bit of a scratchiness going on, and usually when that happens, is like there's something to have come out or something to pay attention to.
Voice, speak up, or yeah.
Yes,
Well, this is
so-
going to be a perfect podcast today for you and me,
for both of us.
and everyone
Yes.
else who's listening, of course.
Yes and no. And so, dear listeners, we encourage you to get a note-taking device, pen, paper, pencil, or notes on your phone, whatever suits you, because our intention is to inspire you to tap into what we're talking about today is how to influence for impact. I think this is going to be a really good one. Well, of course it is. I already framed
You've
that
already
up,
said
right?
that.
It's going to be. So, dear Deb, what would you say? What's your first tip about how to influence for impact?
I'm going to say, number one, I'm going to say change your story. And before you go, what does that mean? So, oh my God, what is it? I'm going to say change the story of going, oh, how to influence impact. This is too hard. I'll never be able to do this. Only other people can do this. Oh, this is not for me. I'm not even working. How can I impact? I'm just a mum, or I'm just this, or blah, la, 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 la. So number one, I'm just going to say change your story. I mean, change the story is actually a great one. Could probably come into every podcast that we actually have.
Completely agree. Yeah.
But it's change that story of, oh, I'm not worthy of this, or oh, I can't do this because I'm just this, or I've got debt collectors on me, or I've got, I've overweight. How can I have impact? This whole, drop the poor me. Yeah, change the story.
I like that a lot. Change the story, because here's the other underlying part of it, is to change the story because every single one of us has impact, has influence. We influence sometimes beyond our own realization. And it
You're
can
even
be
knowing where you're doing it. Yeah.
Yeah. So definitely, I love that. Change your story.
Well, you don't know the impact you're having with somebody else is the other thing. You don't know. You can say, well, we were just talking about, I had someone contact me and, oh, you helped me with this so many years ago. And you're like, oh, did I? Or you helped my friend or something, 10 years ago. And you're like, oh, wow, I can't remember that person or something. But you don't know the impact you're actually having on other people.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely,
no matter what level you're at, how do you say? Yeah, you don't know what impact you're actually having for others.
No, you don't. And so, that leads me into what I'm going to suggest as tip number 2 is to walk your talk. So super important, right? So sometimes we can have the like a little inner conversation of like, that you shouldn't be doing that, or I shouldn't be doing this, or you should be doing that or doing this. So it's super, super important to witness that if you go to say, well, that person's not doing something right, or they should do it differently, or whatever the story is. This is kind of relating to your tip, but it's also to really recognize that it's so important to live by your own set of beliefs and isms and peccadillos. So walking your talk is really, really important. It's actually something that's really, really important to me, that I will never, ever tell a client or a student to adopt some kind of habit or mindset or practice without already having it under my belt, or that it's part of what I do, right?
Well, that's like going into a clothes shop and someone wearing not the clothes from that, the shop you're in.
Yeah.
Like if you walk into a clothes shop, you want to see the people in that shop wearing what's in that store.
Yes. Yeah.
I've got someone who's going to get married soon, and it'll be interesting to see they have a venue They have an amazing wedding venue that's divine and beautiful and just makes me feel warm and glowy. And I haven't asked the question, are you having your wedding at your venue? Because my thing is, they better be, but my thing is, otherwise you're just saying my venue's not good enough for me.
Right.
And so that's a great walk your talk scenario there.
Definitely.
And I think with the walk your talk, even if you do a whoopsie and you go, oh God, I've done this, just confess, move on. Like
tell the truth.
So I guess actually walk your talk and be transparent would be the you don't have to tell everybody everything, but you can just say, oh look, I did a whoopsie and this is not happening here or whatever. You don't have to say this is what it is, but just give a little bit, if that makes sense.
No, and I completely agree. I was leading this group session just this past week, and I was talking about something you and I've talked about a lot of times before, is taking ownership and responsibility for the outcome. And I told a story about knowing that it would take me 20 minutes to get somewhere, and I left in 15 minutes and then got held up behind somebody who was doing below the speed limit. And so then my question was, in this scenario, whose fault was it? Whose responsibility was it? And of course it was mine.
Did they all say you, or did they all go, oh no, it's that driver who was doing?
Well, so some people were reacting that way, saying, yeah, it's the people that are in front of me, or they're holding me back.
I wish. Oh wow. Wow.
And so it was really.
I wish you could blame and move on. It's easier to blame.
I know. But it was really sweet because I was being transparent and saying, this is what I did. And I do take complete ownership for it.
Yeah.
So and actually at the end of the session, somebody said that, how useful it was to have me share that story. Right. So it's like being really honest, right?
Yeah. Well, we haven't probably opened our podcast with those things because we were literally, everyone was AA, wasn't it?
That's right.
Accountable and
aware, acknowledge.
Yeah, I think we had. Yeah, but
I think we've got a huge list now.
Yeah. I don't know if we've started those for a while like that, but it is, and I think when I don't know, people say don't worry about what other people think, but we do have that little 1%, that 2%. Oh God, I don't want to upset my mother. I don't want to do this. I just want my parents to be proud of me, or my partner, or my kids, or that whole thing.
And what would they think if they knew this?
Yeah, what would they think if they knew that? Yeah, I left in 15 minutes and not in 20. And I was late to my mum's wedding. Yeah, okay, well, that's a bit different. But yeah, you possibly could have left a little bit earlier, especially in that scenario. Going to the doctor, understand, or going to see the tax department, understand if you want to be late because you're dragging your heels. But it is about being transparent and and it is taking that ownership.
Yeah. Yeah,
because you're actually going to be a healthier person mentally and physically when you do take ownership. Yes, it's not a pleasant experience sometimes having to go, actually I did this, but are you not better to do this now instead of riding that lie or riding that wave and things just get out of hand and out of hand and out of hand? And I'm going to do a scenario that I watched on Facebook. I think it was something social media, and it was a lady who found out in her late 30s that she was adopted.
Okay. And
we had this whole big discussion with my parents about it, because when do you tell your child? Oh, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
You're adopted, like when? And so that's writing that lie, going, maybe they'll never find out. And now I'm not saying if you're adopted or not adopted or you're on that scenario, but I'm just going to say, check in with what's best for you. And I'm not saying do it, but at what point do you tell this child? Now let's sit down and say, I'm not your birth parents. Right. This is where they are, or this is what it is, because this young girl, well, not young, well, younger than me, she was in a picture. She said, I always felt I was different. So people know our intuition. We know when you've done whoopsies. We know we're not here hiding stuff. Like we know we're not stupid.
Right.
And no one is stupid when you get really present. I think that's the thing.
That's the key piece, right?
But it is, and it's that whole, when do you tell them? You better to tell
Mm.
them sooner rather than later, because a whole year's gone by. Oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You know, but that girl, she had quite big identity. I'm going to say an identity crisis, because she always knew she was different. Knew there's something going on, something going on. And you don't want to be finding that stuff out when, you know, when there's a big catastrophe and you need medical problems, you know, anything like that.
Yeah.
And then it's even harder. Yeah, it was quite an interesting one of when do you confess?
So that's fascinating.
That's another podcast.
It is. But you know, the thing that immediately comes up for me is, I don't believe that there is a one size fits all scenario that is like, when they get to be 3.5 years old, that's when you have to tell them.
Yeah,
because it's really to dependent on the situation and the characters and things like that. But to me, if somebody starts feeling like there's something different about me, they're like comparing themselves to the group that they're in.
it's time to
let them have insight. Otherwise, and I've talked about this before too, is that, you know, how I've said before, and this is another piece on how to influence for impact, is to, particularly as parents, is to understand that we are all intuitive by nature, every one of us. We all have our own flavor and our own way of reading situations, right? So we can have clear vision or clear hearing or just knowing. But the example that I always go back to is that if you have a young child and mom and dad are fighting, having an argument in the room, and the child walks in and says, "What's wrong? What are you arguing
nothing
about?" Or,
and they say that old nothing.
No, everything's fine. Hi, sweetie. It's like, we're good. Then you see, in that scenario, I think that you've created two things. That one is the child says, "Well, I guess I'm not intuitive. Like, I don't, because
that's weird, because I heard something and I
heard
felt
them and I felt it.
And now you're calling me a liar. Like,
yeah,
this is odd." Yep.
So there's that. But then the other thing that can come into play is, oh, it's my fault. Because I know that they were fighting and there was an argument going, and they don't want to tell me the truth, so it's my fault. So that's why I'm saying is that's actually the flip side on how to influence for impact, is by stuffing things down and pretending, no, child, you're not reading this situation correctly.
I just took a screenshot this morning of something, and I'm going to read this out because this is exactly it. It says, before you get sick, your body will whisper about its fatigue. Before you break up, your lover will whisper their requests. Before your business goes bankrupt, your customers will whisper their complaints. If you don't listen to the whispers, you'll be forced to hear the screams.
That is
and it's
so
and it was
powerful.
in word bless, and I just went, oh, I've got my goosies now, and I saw it and just went, oh, that's so true. That's so true. That's so true. Listen to the whispers. Yeah. And it was, and that's exactly it. And that is your intuition. That's those whispers. Listen, because if you don't listen to the whispers, you'll be forced to hear the screams.
I love that.
And I'd rather have whispers than screams.
Yeah, I'm always tapped into the whispers.
But I loved reading it the way it was written, because it was
beautifully written. Yeah,
it was like, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, and it is a wake up. I think one of the tips I'd like to say is, and the word is comparing. How to influence for impact. Are you comparing yourself?
I think we have another. We have all these A's on one side.
I was actually going to say, I think we've done. We need to put some B's in there. Blooming. Yeah. But it is comparing. Comparing is such an ugly trait, because I mean, hang on. You can compare and not let it attach to you, and you can go, oh, they're doing that. That's a great idea. I like that idea. I'm going to spin around that and do that. My idea is, but comparing and going, oh, they're so good, or they're so this, or they have that and I don't have that, and I can't do that. That whole comparing, that's the comparing I'm talking about, is just low vibe, negative energy whispering. The screams are going to come.
They will.
If you're constantly comparing to friends, they have an amazing relationship. They have a great car. They have this, and this. You know, we've got. I don't know if have you seen the big floods we've got in Auckland, New Zealand at the moment that are going on? We've got Auckland's literally been wiped out. Not quite.
Oh my gosh.
Not quite. This is me putting some flowers in the weeds that are drowning. But it's pretty intense. It's pretty.
Wow.
They did a state of emergency the other day,
Mhm.
and one of my friends, her house got flooded up to her knees under 5 minutes.
Oh gosh.
Under 5 minutes. So she
Incredible.
rescued her 3 cats and 2 dogs and the
Thank
kids.
goodness.
Yeah, and got out. But that's a great one of how to influence or impact. Is it's allowed people to look at people over possessions. Now, a lot of people have lost some possessions, and any catastrophic event like this, you do, and you just start to get into the heart. So when that heart comes naturally, and you're not worried about your big TV or your big car or your whatever it is, you know, when you're not worrying about the possessions and you're just living in the heart moment, I think that's the best way to influence for impact, because you're not, you know, people are on social media going, oh, look, I dropped off 4 lunchbox meals to somebody. It's like, yeah, and why are you dropping off 4? And why are you even telling us? Like, just get out there in your gumboots, that even though the water's above some of the gumboots, but get out there and do something yourself, but without looking for credibility.
Looking for a pat on the back by somebody else. You just go pitch in.
So it's heart movements. Yeah, I'm putting my nose in my ear because I don't know how to word it, but can you explain it? How you know what I mean? Am I getting my?
It's actually just compassion. It's being compassionate and saying, oh, there's suffering here. There's chaos. There's issues. What can I do? Okay, I can take people in, or I can, you know, shore up some protection so that water doesn't gush all over the place, or whatever it is, because we can always do something, right? And just do it from the sense of your heart. It's like, because the more we can just, you know, it's to put down, it's not the material things, it's about the being compassionate and caring for your fellow human being, right?
Yeah, so it's thinking of the other person or the other event without without doing the old look at me.
Right. Yeah, look at me because I'm the hero over here. It's like that. No, that's actually, you know what? As we're talking about that, that's when ego gets in the way.
Yeah. Yes.
Because that's quite an egotistical reaction. It's like, look, I've just done 4 of these.
Well, that's it, comparing. So people are going, oh, you're an influencer, you've dropped off 4, I need to drop off 5. No, this is not how to influence for impact. Okay,
this is not a competition.
I really don't want to see you doing that. It doesn't appeal to me on social media when people go, I did this, and this. I know I used to drive my social media girls insane because they go, tell us a testimonial from someone, or tell me that. And I'm like, no. They're like, come on, Deborah. And I'm like, no. They're like, what impact did you do today? And I'd tell them, they go, oh, wow, can we put that in social media? No. It's no one's business. I'd be like, Deborah. I'd be like, no. And I guess, well, that's my stuff. But that's about that comparing as well, of seeing that hero that you think is a hero. They've got the perfect life and all that. But in reality, you know, it is about that ego too. Yeah, so no.
But you know, the other thing that I've always thought about comparing is that, you know, when we look at somebody else and, oh, they've got all that, they've got, you know, they're way better at this, or they have X amount of success and I don't. What we're doing right there is we are comparing our inner landscape to their outer landscape, because we don't actually know that person who is going, ta-da, look at me, I'm this. Maybe they're really upset and depressed, and that's their way of kind of showing to people, I'm doing better than I really am, right? And so none of us can really compare, because we do not know the inner landscape of the person that we're looking at. Does that make sense? Right?
Yeah, it does. I just thought when we were talking about comparing, I just went, do you think an apple worries that an orange is beside it in its fruit bowl and it's a different color? and tastes different and is completely different. I looked when you were talking, I'm like, do you think an apple would really be bothered if there's an apple and an orange and someone took the orange and not the apple?
Nope.
No.
Nope. I think it would celebrate.
They're both appealing.
Yep.
But they're both very different. But some days you want an apple, some days you want an orange. When you're just saying, I was like, oh, do you think an apple? No, they've got better things to do.
Precisely. But that's actually the perfect example there too, because we are all unique. We do all have our own quirks and peccadillos and nuances and ways of looking at things, ways of being, ways of doing things, and it's about celebrating that. And to your point too, sometimes comparing ourselves to somebody else can go, oh, I really like the way you're doing that. And seeing,
well, I know you've said a couple of
some
things
of
in
that
business and I've gone, oh, that's a genius idea. I could do that and do it my way. Yeah,
exactly.
So there's the two levels of comparing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, one's healthy. See, one's healthy and it's coming from the perspective of, if I see that in you,
it's not jealousy.
Like it, it's not jealousy. It's kind of like, oh, obviously I have that capacity within me too. Otherwise, it wouldn't be coming up to my attention, right?
Yeah, totally.
A quick wee message before we get back to this episode. You can get access to a special gift Moira and Debz have put together for you. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift. When you sign up, you'll receive instant access to an inner peace kit and the 30 Days of Wisdom program, both of which is intended to help you feel deliciously motivated right away. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift.
Yeah. So influencing for impact.
Yeah.
And so, it's about this is another tip too. And I already talked about, we talked about walking your talk and being transparent, but it's also pausing and taking time. Like when you're going into a conversation or going to say words, or it's really useful to just take a wee pause and make sure, is this coming from the realness of me, the authentic?
Whose words are these?
Yes, whose words are these? Who said that?
Yeah.
It's really important because sometimes we can be halfway through a sentence and go, oh, hey, that's not my words. I'm just.
It's my mum's.
Yeah, I know. That's actually what was in my mind. It's like, yeah, that's my dad talking.
It's funny. I remember you say stuff. I know as a parent, you'd say things and you go, and I literally used to look behind me like, oh my God, that's my mum. Not when my mum was in the room or anything like that, but you'd literally go, shoot, that's my mum. No, it's me. Oh,
yeah.
But it's those sayings that you have.
And that's because it's the sayings that we have inherited. And so maybe there was a time, maybe there was a season for something like that, but it's like, no, it's not mine. So it's thanks. And how to influence for impact means, how well do you really, really know yourself and your triggers and your peccadillos and your preferences, and it's all part of it, right?
Yeah. I just was thinking what we were talking. We're only talking 10, 15 minutes before we started. And I just went, oh my God, this is the other thing, is own your skill, because we were talking about certain things earlier, and not own your skill, but not everyone will like you.
Yes.
If you're going to influence for impact, own it.
Yeah.
Own that. I can own that I can help someone deal with grief in an hour.
Yeah.
Own it. I can do that. I can put my guarantee on that. Well, yeah, I can put my guarantee on that. It's a little bit like, Deborah, can you? And I'm like, yes, I do often. But these little things, and it's just own your skill, and don't let the Pac-Man of your internal thoughts or others try and tell you not what, because not everyone will like the way you do things.
No, I completely agree. And sometimes when you come into contact with somebody that goes, oh, I don't really like that approach, or that doesn't resonate with you, that's great. Thanks for
Well,
sharing. Thanks for saying that. And I know that there's people that resonate and that I can help with the way I do things. And I'm not here to help everybody.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, we were talking earlier, we were saying I used to get frustrated that people would turn down my modality.
Yeah. What's wrong with you?
And go to somebody else and they say, I'm gonna go read a book instead of talking to you. Be like, what? You're gonna read a book? Well, the book won't bloody help you. That book's not going to give you anything. I can help you in an hour and we can deal with it. Don't read a book. And that's that. That's that. Own your skill, but not everyone will like you. And not everyone will like you. Not everyone will like the way you say. Not everyone will like this podcast. You know, my voice, anything, Moira's voice, all these things. And that's okay. I will still sleep at night doing what I do because I do what I can to the best I can. And that's that. That's just that whole, if you're in a coaching business or you're into something, actually that's even a department store too. So somebody goes into your department store, doesn't buy, but they go next door and buy somewhere else. Don't take it personally.
No, it's got nothing to do with you.
Yeah, but that's that whole own your skill and don't worry about those who walk away.
Or even those who, because this is going back to the
or have an opinion.
I was just mentioning. I had my presentation. I had 5 tips. We were all about manifesting. I was sharing 5 different tips about manifesting and helping people really kind of get into the flow of that. And somebody on the session said, "I really love all these tips except for number 5. Didn't like number 5 at all." And I'm like, that's okay.
How cool that they actually spoke up.
I know. I thought it was pretty cool.
Instead of just going, oh God, I don't want to do that one. I don't want to do that one.
Because I said that's great. So that tip's not for you. Right?
Yeah. And I love the way you end. That tip's not for you. You didn't try and change them. You didn't try and go, okay, give me a minute, everybody. I'm going to change number 5 for that person on here. And yep, okay, I've got a new one. Now take out number 5 and this is what it is. I love that you didn't change for that. It's like, but it's true. Not everything's for everyone.
No.
Black is not a great color on me. Navy's better if I'm going to wear a dark color. But it's all those things. But I can stand beside Moira and Moira looks great in black.
I'm wearing black.
The same.
Actually, go black with purple.
Actually, you are wearing. Yeah, I just realized she is wearing black actually today. But it's true. Not everything is for everybody.
That's right. And it's the celebrating. It's not the getting into a critical kind of what's wrong with you. What's wrong with you because you can't wear black? Because you have to. Yeah. Because I have to fix it so that you can resonate with this. And that is your point. It's like, no, it's about celebrating the pieces that make you uniquely you. Right? If we could all do that, that would be, we'd actually all be influencing for impact in our unique way.
Well, people say, oh, Deborah, so-and-so's copied your program. I'm like, yeah, but they can take my content and they can try, but they're not going to have the old Deborah laughs in it. They're not going to have the old Deborah stories, and they're not going to have the Deborah spin on it. So it's going to be delivered with flatline.
Yeah, absolutely. That's actually a really interesting piece too, because I sometimes hear conversations about, trademarking your process and making sure nobody takes your content. And to your point, it's me that animates my content. To your point too, somebody can take a program that I teach and use all the same content and it will not be,
but will never be the
like
same.
What I do.
I guess when you're in that pickle and you're furious with people who's copied you, then you can't see that.
Yes.
Hand on heart, calm down. One of the other tips, I don't know whose tip it is, but I'm just going to say my one.
You should say yours.
Okay. Is get clear on what do you want or what do you desire? Because if you're not clear, you're not going to get it. If you're just going to take anything, like what do you want? Do you want to live in the same country? Do you want your body to be healthy? Do you want your mind to be healthy? Do you want a certain amount of money? Do you want to be able to read books? Do you want to be able to, listen to your intuition way more? Like, get clear on what you're looking for to do that impact.
Mm.
Or
I
in
love
anything. That's actually in anything.
It is. I love that. And I think it's really, really important because some people don't believe that they are worthy of having that opinion or having that choice or saying, I name and claim this.
Yeah.
Right. That I would like to live in this kind of place and do these types of activities and have this kind of experience around me. But the truth is we all do. We all have the right to claim what it is we wish for. Right?
Yeah, it is. And if you, Matthew Fade, a gentleman I worked for many years ago until he died, one of the things he said to me was, if you don't ask, the answer is always no.
Absolutely. And
I never
such a truth.
I never realized the impact of just that. And so I'm constantly asking, what about that? And what about that? And could we do this? And because I'm looking at, it's going to be a no. If I don't ask, it's always going to be a no. And I'm going to have that what if. And I tell you what if has a bad, ugly cloud that hangs over you, it just constantly rains on you all the blooming time. What if I did that? What if I did that? But yeah, get clear on what do you desire? Yeah.
And know that when you're telling yourself the truth on what it is you desire, you've actually started spinning the creation of it.
Yeah, you've already started, yeah.
Because you just named it and said yes.
Yeah.
And the other thing too, I can't remember who says this, that if you have a dream or a desire that comes up for you, it means it's possible for you, because otherwise it would not land in your imagination or in your heart or in your energy. Right?
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Oh, my mind's ticking over.
But see, from that perspective is, so then if it pops up for you, I love this. Wouldn't it be wonderful if this? That's actually a beautiful game to play. Wouldn't it be nice if, fill in the blanks? Wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be nice if this is the kind of creation we had? Or wouldn't it be nice if this was the experience that we had every single day? And it allows that sense of playful fun.
Which expands your mind. It just opens it up without the oh, but this. Oh, what is that? Oh, but that blooming but.
No, yeah, but we no, yeah, but they get fired around here.
Yeah.
No, yeah, but yeah, to have a sense of play and fun, because after all, we are supposed to be having fun, aren't we?
Well, I'd like to think we are.
Yeah, me too.
It doesn't have to be doom and gloom. I mean, even for the floods, and there are catastrophic events, and I say catastrophic because they do start as catastrophic, but they do wake us up. And I look at the Auckland intense flooding right now, and I'm like, people are just coming out of nowhere helping neighbours. And I know I was part of the Christchurch earthquake, and we had one of our neighbours. She sent her kids literally to every house on the street and said, "Mum and Dad have got a generator. If you want to plug your phones in or anything or whatever, go down. Dad's got 2. Go down and use it. It's this, there's plenty for everybody in the street to go and use the power." And it was, and the camaraderie that came out of that earthquake was phenomenal.
It's beautiful.
And that's and that's what I'm seeing with the Auckland thing, is people are actually, sure, people are complaining about the mayor, and sure, people are complaining about this and that, but at the end of the day, they've only had 4 deaths. That's phenomenal in what actually happened.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And
it's like everybody is just saying we're in it together.
Yeah, that's
right?
it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
no
really
hidden
beautiful.
motive.
Yeah. That's a beautiful way of influencing for impact.
Yeah. Okay, so we could definitely just do another 4 hours on this. Is there? Let's wrap these up, and then if you've got any more at the end, Moira, we'll just jump them onto the end, because these are great ones. These are really good.
These are really wonderful tips. I love these.
We literally at the end we're like, oh, that was a different one. But we didn't start with our little AACs at the start.
No, we didn't.
No,
well, they kind of sneak in. They do.
Yeah, they get in there anyway. That's it. So, how to influence for impact? Grab your pen and paper, people, and just see what ones that are down and what ones, if we've missed any off here as well, for you. And then also on our Facebook group, we would love you to tell us your favorite one, but also let us know if there's any that you use.
Yeah.
Or your little wording in there. That would
Definitely.
be super cool. So how to influence for impact. Number 1, Moira. Do you want to start that one? That was the one I started with.
Yeah. So the first one was to change your story. None of this, oh, I can't do that, and I'm not good enough, and I don't know what to do, and they're way better. Well, there's comparison sneaking in there. So yeah, to change your story, to understand that we all are influencers. We all are powerful influencers and powerful creator beings, right?
Change your story is just so boom, done. That's an end of podcast.
Yep.
Change your story.
Yep.
No,
Got
for me. I think every one of these are.
Yep.
Number 2 is walk your talk.
Yep.
And this is a great one of being transparent, because to have an impact, you don't know what you're saying and what you're sharing. So right now we've given you some tips, and you'll know with our podcast that we say what's going on in our world. We say where we're at. Moira started and said she's got a little throaty thing, a little bit throaty thing happening. Like, she said that. She's, so she's being transparent. So walk your talk. You wouldn't, I wouldn't suggest a modality to somebody if I hadn't tried it. I'm not going to refer a plumber to somebody if I don't know the plumber. I live on a referral basis, and most of my things is, I'll just ask somebody. Who's the best person around here who does this? Who's the best person who does this? Yeah. And having that's how we do it. So walk your talk, be transparent, because you wouldn't put on clothes that you wouldn't recommend.
Precisely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Tip number 3 was where we got into that whole conversation about when to tell somebody the truth. And this was
when to tell them they're adopted.
Yeah, when to tell them they're adopted. But the point being, and this is particularly when you are influencing children, is to tell the truth, because they can feel it. And so not to kind of go, no, it's nothing. It's nothing. Everything's fine. No. And this is one of my favorite. People that have attended group sessions with me know that I love to say this, and I'll go around the room and say, how are you feeling? And you're not allowed to use the F word. And I just love watching the shock on people's face. And like, what F word were you thinking? I meant fine.
Yeah. Tick, 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 tick. Oh.
But yes, to be truthful and authentic, I think, is that important part of the influencing for impact, right?
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. The next one I had was comparing. And there's positives and negatives to comparing, and the one I'm talking about is about comparing and putting yourself in the pit,
right?
Because Moira can say, oh, I'm doing this new program, and this is what it is, and this is where I've set it up. I set it into this system, and this is how my funnel's going to be. Actually, I don't ever think I've heard Moira say funnel.
No,
as I say that, I don't think you've ever said no. Most people say funnels, but I don't, and all the time I've known more, I'm pretty sure she's never said a funnel, but this is how it's done, and I can compare and go, oh wow, that's super easy, or I can do that my way.
Yeah.
And so that is a great way to compare, but it's the comparing of going, oh, Moira's just got a workshop with 100 people, and last time I only got 3, and that's not good enough. You're not on the same level as Moira, and blah 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 blah. blah. That's the comparing I'm talking about. That's poo.
Yes.
That will put you in that 10 scale. You know how we had a 0 to 10 at the start? That will put you in that 10 scale and keep you there if you're doing that comparing. But the other one will take you straight to a 0, because you'll be like, wow, there's inspiration within you. Your shoulders are back, you've got a kick, and away you go.
And you're feeling confident and accessing your inner truth, right?
Yeah, your genius.
Going, oh, that feels great. I want to, try that on for size.
Yeah.
I love that. My next tip was to just create a wee bit of pause to check in with the words you're using. Are they yours? Whose words are these? Who said that? Because sometimes when
Mom.
we get, because mom can be talking through you, or dad can, or and it doesn't, actually doesn't really matter where, but it is just to say, are these in alignment with the truth of me? of who I have become, because sometimes maybe there was a chapter in your life where they were true, but I think that it's really important that as we become more evolved and more empowered in our own skin and our own self, that we can say, yeah, there was a time where I might have used that kind of verbiage, but it doesn't suit me anymore. So it's just to be making sure that you have create a wee bit of space and time for yourself.
Yeah,
right?
I love that. And the next one I had was own your skill. Own your skill. So not everyone will like you. Not everyone will want to do your modality, or if you're a coach or whatever it is. Not everyone will like you wearing that red top. I had one client who actually constantly told me, I don't know if I could ever work with you because I don't like red, because my business was red everything. And I was literally like, what? I'd never heard
got to do with anything.
Yeah, and she said, and she'll know if she's listening to this, and she probably will be listening to this, she'll hear it and she'll go, oh, that was me. I remember the first time she said it to me, I was like, what? No filter face, Deborah, no filter mouth. I was like, what do you mean you can never work with me because I like red? Like, what? Because she didn't like red. And so that's it. So not everyone will like you. So just own your skill your way and stick in that lane. And by the way, she did come to my programs and work with me, finding when she let it go. I don't think I ever actually worked on her with the color red. I was like, okay, righto, I'm not going to work on that. Yeah. Clearly, Deborah's motive. But she didn't want to work with me because my branding was red.
Right.
And that's
Isn't that interesting.
Yeah. Probably would have been wise for me to look at what that red was, but never mind.
So, but something that I just thought of as you were saying that, I was like, not everybody will like you. And that's true. The key piece I think is super important in this is you got to like yourself.
I was just going to say, I know that.
Right
I know
off the top is like 100%. You have to love who you are. Love, accept. Can you stand in the mirror and go, I love you? And keep doing it.
Yeah.
Then it doesn't matter, right? Because it's not.
Well, it's water just on a raincoat. It just dripples off. It's just when people. Yeah.
It's like, okay, I don't have to like everybody either. That's the truth too, right? Yeah. So it's kind of like, hey, I just find, it's like we're finding our tribe. We're finding the people that we do click with, and that's great. Everybody's doing that, and we just need to acknowledge that everybody's on that path. Whoops, I just dropped my pen.
Oh, I didn't even hear it. I didn't hear it go.
Okay, good. So yes,
I love that. I love that part.
Yes. The last tip that I have, and this actually was from you, was to get clear on what you want. And you've talked about this before. I think it's such an important piece, especially with this influencing for impact, is what do you want? What's your outcome? What's the desire? What's the dream? Are you following your dream? Right?
Well, that's that. Yeah, but. Oh, I'd love to have a new house. Yeah, but. Oh, I'd love to have a healthier body. Yeah, but I can't get off the couch. Well, you're going to have to get off the couch if you want a healthier body. There's got to be some stuff behind that if you're going to have an impact, and it is. And I love the way Moira said is, wouldn't it be nice if?
Yeah.
And I love that thing, because it just makes you go, wouldn't it be nice if? And it's not a dream fantasy.
No.
Because it's the dreaming fantasy. Oh, I'd love to win lotto. Oh, I need to win lotto. Okay, well, you've got to buy a ticket for a start. Anyway, but wouldn't it be nice if I won lotto? Okay, yeah, it would be nice, maybe. But, I know in America, they take half your blooming lotto money anyway for taxes. Not in New Zealand, we don't. If you win $1 million, you get $1 million.
Oh, that's the truth in Canada too. I'm happy to say. In the US, they do take like a huge.
Well, your
percentage.
lotto in the US, they big money, and I was always like, wow, your lotto is so big, so big. When I grew up, it's like, oh, your lotto is like millions compared to us in New Zealand, and then it's like, but they've got to pay half to the for the tax, and so so there's always there's that catch. But it is, wouldn't it be nice if? Wouldn't it be nice if? And put some action behind it.
Put some action and have some fun. This is about being fun and creative.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Have fun. I think that's it.
I think we got them all. That's the one. All we covered. I believe
that's it. It's how to influence or impact. But there's one last thing we do, and we check in with where we were on our scale of 0 to 10. I was a 4 and it was a 4. That's where I was. What are you, 4?
Solid.
And
there.
Moira was a 2.
I was.
And that's where we were both at. And so what number are you now, Moira?
I'm a 0.
Yeah.
That tickle in my throat cleared up within sort of 10 minutes of us getting into this. So I thought, okay, I just obviously had to sit and chat with you.
Obviously you had to influence for impact.
Yeah,
for
that
me.
was it.
And usually we start, and when we start these, we normally talk for an hour anyway.
Yeah, we do.
What would maybe next time when we start that very first call before we record, maybe we'll do our PIMS then and then go, after our talk, okay, now I'm ready to start my podcast. But yes, well, I'm gonna say a 1. I'm
Good.
pretty sure I'm a 0, but I feel there's probably something, looking at these things I've got on my little list to go down and just look at that influence or impact.
Good.
So I'm keeping these notes. I've got them and keeping that note. So I'm just going to say I'm a 1 right now. So everybody, where are you? Let us know where you're at. Let us know what tips you loved, what you didn't love. Just let us know. Let us know, because people say you can be nosy or whatever. I don't really care. I wouldn't call it that. I'd just call it curious. I'd be curious. But yeah, if you but there's one last thing we will ask you to do. So if you love today, if you really resonated with a couple of points or all points or anything, if you love today, can you please share it? Yeah. So the next step for you is actually share this with somebody you care about, because it just opens up another level of conversation for you. Yeah.
For you and for your loved ones and people that you'd like to reach out
and the
to.
impact.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Here, how to influence or impact. Share.
Impact.
The very last
Share
one.
this.
Share. I didn't think about that one. Yeah. Share. So thank you everybody for today. What an interesting one. How to influence or impact.
Enjoyed this.
Appreciate that. Thank you. We will see you, or you will hear us next week. Thank you, Moira, for your
thank you, dear Deb,
for your wisdom. Thanks,
and
listeners, and thanks to the internet.
Definitely. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.